I love what I teach because it is relevant to the world. Hi, welcome to Mr. Parker Meets. I'm Stewart Parker. All right, hi, welcome back. I'm Stewart Parker, the Orange County 2021 Teacher of the Year, and I'm excited for another episode of Mr. Parker Meets. And I am really honored for this one because I get to introduce you to and talk with Matthew Swope. He is the Director of Choral Activities at Winter Park High School, and this is where I work. And I am so excited to bring him on because I have such great respect and admire what he's able to do with these high school students every single year. So I am really excited to let y'all just know what he does and how he does it. So welcome, Matthew.
Thanks. It's so wonderful being with you, and appreciate the invitation here.
All right, so I'm gonna the same couple of questions I always ask everybody, and I love it because I get to find out just a little bit about people. But how did you get into teaching? Like, what was the path that brought you to teaching, and then to Orange County and to Winter Park?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a complicated tale, but when I was in 10th grade, I knew I wanted to go into music, and I really thought I wanted to go into teaching. That's kind of when the big shift happened, and then I got to college and started dabbling into music things, into classical studies, and I kind of forgot the motivation that I had for why I wanted to be a teacher in the first place. So by the end of my undergrad, I'd kind of gotten away from teaching, and I ended up with degrees in music and in classical studies. So then I went for my master's in voice performance and pedagogy. And partway through, kind of the teaching bug started to come back. And I was actually working at a summer camp at Penn State, where I went to college. And I had a really kind of breakthrough experience with a group of students in this voice class that I was teaching. And I actually went back to my mentor's office, who was running the choral area for the camp. And I walked in, and a bunch of my colleagues who were working the camp were all talking about me and basically saying, if he doesn't do this, he's crazy. And so I walk into this and, all with the best intentions. And thankfully, I had the same revelation that they were having at that point in time, and worked thereafter immediately to go ahead and add my certification onto my master's degree. And then as that process unfolded, I got into the classroom more through internships and student teaching and those types of things, and realized that why I really wanted to do this. And the end of the day, I've always tried to make a lot of decisions in my life based on where can I make the biggest impact. And that was where I was seeing that happening. So so by the time I finished my degree program, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I was looking at teaching jobs, and I didn't really anticipate leaving kind of the Pennsylvania kind of tri-state area. I thought like that's where I would be, but I was having some unsuccessful interviews, and saw this job actually posted on our national choral director's website, and thought, oh, that looks great, but I don't know, I doubt I'll even be considered, but whatever. So emailed my resume and got a phone interview the next day. They followed up with my references and said, hey, we want you to come down. And I flew down the next day, flew down that Thursday, interviewed all day Friday, and then they offered me the job on Saturday. So I went from not even thinking Orange County was a possibility to within 6 days, having a phone interview, in-person interview, and being offered the job. So at that point, I kind of felt smacked in the face by it all, that this is what it's supposed to be. And that was 14 years ago. So this is where I started my teaching career, and I've been here ever since. So and it's been a wonderful place to be, as you know, Stewart. It's just an amazing place. Got tremendous colleagues within the department and outside of the department. We've just had really great support from the community and administration, and just a good team effort. So that's my educational journey to this point. So
that's great. I love that. I love that it could have gone both ways. And you're like, we walked into the room and they were talking about you, and I was like, oh, what are they going to be saying? And then you're like, that they were saying, oh, this is what the path you need to go on. So I like that in there. And I can't believe it's been 14 years. that
Me
you've been at
neither.
Winter Park. That seems it seems like you've been here a while, but then this is my 19th year, and I can't believe that I've been here that long as well. So it's pretty cool. So kind of what because y'all in the performing arts, I was a band kid in middle and high school, so I have a really fondness towards the performing arts. What is your philosophy with teaching and with your students and the performing arts specifically?
Yeah, I mean, first I would say that I think that one of our big goals is that there's a place for everybody within our department, and so anybody who wants an opportunity in the performing arts, specifically to our area in choir, that there's a place for you. And if you want choir to just be something you do on the side, there's a place for you. If you want it to be the defining thing of your high school experience, then there's a place for you. I really firmly believe that everyone has an aptitude for music. I don't believe that there's anybody who can't get better and can't build upon a skill set and develop that skill set. So that kind of is at the very core. We do a lot in our department focusing on comprehensive musicianship, making sure that, especially with music literacy, making sure that, our goal is as teachers as a whole, and you certainly know this, that ideally we want our students to be independent of us and to leave here and to take what they've learned and to be able to build upon that. But that they can, they can leave here and they can make sense of the musical world, whether it's something they're hearing on the radio, whether they are continuing in a choral organization within a church or community, et cetera, and that they have those skills that are going to make them lifelong either makers of music or even just appreciators of music. So I think that, making sure that what we offer them is comprehensive, in terms of an appreciation for the different historical periods, an appreciation for different cultures and for different types of people. I think that that's one thing that the arts really does a great job of bringing together a diverse body of people for a common goal. And you really learn a lot about that kind of collaborative energy, that spirit of teamwork, and that we are greater than the sum of our parts.
So in your position, you're the director of choral activities. So what are, like, that leads me to believe there's a lot of choral activities. And so I know a lot of high schools have a lot of stuff. So what are some of the things that kids can get into? Because I love how you said they can make it as much of their high school career as they want. They can be just there and sing in the class and do a couple of concerts, so they can be super involved and do a lot of things outside of school. So what are some of what do you offer?
Right. So we have, there's two of us. There are two choir teachers, Miss Holly Pratt, former Winter Park grad as well. And Holly and I have been working together for the past 5 years. And so between the two of us, we have 8 curricular choirs. And then we have 2 extracurricular choirs, which are our contemporary acapella groups. So everything ranges from like a non-auditioned opportunity where students can come no matter their level of experience, the whole way up through Park Singers, Belle Chanson, are groups that are highly auditioned, and a little bit more of a chamber type experience. So a lot of the things that then our students are able to do, we offer several kind of distinct social opportunities for our students. We believe a lot in building community with our department. The more I think that we get to know each other, the more we trust each other, the more vulnerable we can be in our music making with one another. And so we have a lot of events. We do an annual fall picnic in non-COVID times, at least. We do an annual fall picnic. We usually have like a little theme party of sorts. We have a big end of the year banquet. So some of those events that are kind of extra beyond the musical side of things. And then a lot of performance opportunities. As you mentioned, there's several concerts. We have a big musical production night on Broadway, which I know we'll certainly talk about. So some of our choirs will do some things like Candlelight Processional at Epcot. We've done that, I don't know, at least probably 15 years or so prior to this past year, where they get to sing as part of the Candlelight Processional during the holiday season with the Voices of Liberty, the Walt Disney World Orchestra, big kind of fanfare event. Some of our advanced choirs will also do a lot of gigging opportunities, especially in the holiday times. We go on a trip every 2 years, and that's open to everybody in our department. So hopefully, we'll be looking to go to New York in the future here. And then we have our contemporary a cappella groups, NSO and Take Seven, and they do a lot of other opportunities. They go to some a cappella festivals. We do recording projects with them. So we've released several albums that are available on like Apple Music, Spotify, our streaming platforms. And they also do kind of a big a cappella show at the end of the year. So as you kind of alluded to as well, if there's hopefully a place for you if you want it to just be part of the experience. And then there's certainly kids who choose this as, their main thing in high school. But it's important for us that throughout our entire performing arts department that, this is high school and this is the time when students are supposed to be able to explore different things. And so we really try to work hard with the other club sponsors and coaches and everybody in our department to make it possible for students to do athletics and chorus and ROTC and chorus and IB and AP and chorus and all of those things that because I think we're better with all those organizations. We are better by having those well-rounded students, coming to us and opportunity to learn from their diverse experiences as well.
Well, you kind of answered a couple of my questions on that one.
So no, okay.
Hey, that's fine. I love it. But I do want to ask again, just as maybe because you started there and maybe give some stuff like that. Arts education, there's always this discussion. And I remember in middle school and high school, writing letters to the school board, writing letters to state legislature, state senators about funding. And when they typically funding gets cut at school-based levels, electives and arts are kind of the first ones on the chopping block. And I just remember we had this huge thing in high school, and we would continually went to school board meetings and emailed. We didn't email back when I was in high school. Wrote letters to our state legislatures about the importance of it. So as now a teacher in this, what is the importance of having such a strong and rich arts program? Because at your being the department chair, you have underneath you band and orchestra and guitar and theater, all of those. How does that, having such a comprehensive arts department, how does that enhance the school and total, and how does that help us as educators in the classroom? What benefit does that give us too for having such a good, strong, comprehensive arts program?
Right. I think it's a great question. I think the arts, I think, put us in touch with our humanity, and I think that's something that can't always be quantified, but it is certainly a fundamental principle. And I think we learn so much about ourselves as artists in how we express ourselves, in kind of getting in touch with how we feel about things, how we make sense of the world around us. A lot of that is done through the arts. Obviously, the arts are something that we often turn to in troubling times. I mean, you think of any kind of major catastrophe that we've faced as a civilization, as a country, and there's always a concert or there's a big event, and how pivotal music is and the performing arts are within that, and visual arts as well, just as a form of human expression. I think are such an important thing. I mean, I think if we look at this time period of COVID, in and of itself, if we look back at what it, where did we find our solace? Where did we find comfort? People turned to listening to music. People turned to making music on their own. People turned to streaming everything they could possibly stream on Netflix. And these are all products of the arts, be it music, be it theater, be it visual arts. And so I think that there's a core element of who we are and our humanity as people, and how we express ourselves, how we collaborate with one another, that few other things kind of get to the core of. And so I think that for our students to have those opportunities to express themselves, especially as we spend more time, thankfully, kind of getting into social emotional learning and things like that, having more outlets for our students to realize more things about themselves, more fully realize their potential. in that way, I think is we all benefit, whether that's happening within an arts classroom or whether that's happening within, a geometry classroom. And I think, I go back a little bit to what I said before as well. It's just the more, I think the more opportunities our students are able to have, the better their high school experience is going to be, the more understanding of themselves and the world around them they're going to have, which I think then, helps hopefully prepare them more for whatever life beyond high school looks like for them. So.
And I like you said something, I just want to say it again. And I think it's a common thing that we can do, that you and I can do in different things. You have it in chorus, and I have it in geography, but we expose to cultures, we expose to different thoughts and thinkers and people, and we can use that to empower the students to do that. So what are some ways, like, I love the empowerment that comes from the arts? Like, how do you see that? Because I can talk about it in a civics class and stuff like that, but some people are like, and this just came to my mind, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but
No.
What are some ways that we can empower kids through the arts?
So a lot of it, I think, comes to, with anything, is our students being able to see themselves in their world, and to give, I think the arts help. Both, we literally help give voice to students by, teach them how to sing, but also give voice to what makes them them, and how they experience the world. And some things that I think that we've been able to do, a lot of that has happened, I think, through programming, whether through theater or whether through the musical arts. Programming works by composers from different backgrounds, from different genders, different orientations, different cultures, etc., and allowing students to see themselves in poets, in different composers. A big thing that we focused on last year, actually right before COVID, the very last thing that we did, our acapella groups, NSO and Take 7, performed at the ACDA, American Choral Directors Association Southern Region Conference in Mobile, Alabama. And the focus of that program actually was identity. And so we really did a deep study where the students did a big kind of brainstorm of what do they see as the elements of that comprise their identities. And we tried to focus on a lot of those different things with the repertoire that we did. And so in some cases that was repertoire in different languages. We ended with a kind of hybrid piece of arrangement of Carnaval de Barrio from In the Heights. So we were able to kind of celebrate the Latin cultures that were represented in the groups. We also were able to, in that performance as well, we highlighted 2 original songs that current members of those groups had written. So literally helping to give voice to that, and to their experiences. And so I think that was a way of empowering the students in a way that's kind of surprised me, because I've had several students now go on to collegiate study and professional life as songwriters and playwrights and doing different things, where they've really been able to actualize that part of their creativity and helping to create a space for them to do that and to express themselves, and in a way where there's not judgment, in a way where they're going to get hopefully some constructive feedback. And I know theater has done a great job with this as well. They usually have their night of one acts, where it's all student-written productions. It's student-written, student-directed, student-acted, and so I think just empowering these students in not just experiencing the arts, but also that next step of helping them create their own original works as well.
And I think the arts has such a huge role, and you see it with like inclusion and acceptance and diversity of people and stuff like that. And so you even see like the themes of musicals and different things like that changing, and being kind of those contemporary focuses on some of the issues. So I think that's really, really cool. And I love that. And if you have a chance, if you're watching and you can go find the song that the NSO and Take 7 did, the In the Heights, it's unbelievable. And when you listen to it, you'll be like, these are high school kids? I can't believe these are high school kids, because it's pretty impressive. I played it for my wife, and she goes, I know, they're awesome. Like, yes, I know that I know they're from Winter Park because you told me. But yeah, So it's amazing. So take a look, listen to it. But one thing, and I see you have a poster up from behind you that I look at, and I do want to talk about it because it's an amazing tradition that was started at Winter Park, and it's Night on Broadway. So tell us a little bit about that, because you stepped into Night on Broadway. This was started like 2 choir directors before you, and you've kept it going, which I think is pretty awesome that you do. So tell us about the history of it and what it's about and what it means to the community itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So this goes back to the late 90s. So in December of 1998, we had a chorus student. Once again, this is before my time here, but we had a chorus student. His name was Tyler Rush, and Tyler was killed in a car accident. And he was a sophomore at the time, and he was a member of concert choir and Park Singers, 2 of our choirs. And he had just an amazing love for Broadway musicals, just a tremendous spirit, zest for life, kindness towards others, just the type of person, from everything I've learned about him from his family and video footage that I've seen and photos, just the type of person that everybody wants to be around, just an infectious energy. And so that spring, in wanting to celebrate his life, they decided they would do a kind of concert featuring some musical theater selections to highlight his love for that. And so over the years, it kind of developed into this thing that we call Night on Broadway. And over the years, it's taken a lot of different forms. We've done everything from musical reviews, such as Smokey Joe's Cafe, to operettas, such as Pirates of Penzance, Joseph's Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and also like full shows such as Les Mis. And so it's taken a lot of different forms over the course of time. But at the heart of it, there's always been a couple of kind of key components. One has been Tyler's memory. 2 has been wanting to provide a really broad opportunity for our students to experience different types of music. So, so like you said, it's kind of one of those things that's constantly changing. 3 would be we've always ended since my first year. We wanted something that no matter what the title of the show was, that there was something that uniquely identified it as Night on Broadway. And so in 2008, we commissioned Broadway composer Jason Howland and his wife Danny Davis, Broadway producer, and they wrote a song called "There's Only One You" specifically for us. So every year at the end of the show, no matter what the show was about, we end with that. It's got a little feature for our seniors. There's a little soli section at the very beginning of it, and it's really about kind of it's kind of a seize the day kind of carpe diem kind of mantra, to kind of make the best of the time that we have, and to recognize the things within us that make us uniquely us and that make us beautiful humans. And so so that's been kind of at the heart of it since 2008. And then the 4th kind of component that's been tied to Night on Broadway has been a scholarship program, which was started, I think, either the first or the second year. It was started pretty soon, pretty early on. And so since about 1999 up through last year, because even though we didn't have Night on Broadway last year, we had some amazing donors who helped step forward to help it make a great year for the class of 2020. So we've raised over $200,000 in scholarships. And those go to our 2 members of the senior class who have been in choir. And the only real criteria are they have to have been in choir and that they're going on to some further education beyond high school, be it a training program, be it community college, be it a 4-year university. And so through that, we've been able to Tyler's legacy has stayed alive, and the department has really been able to positively influence and make things possible for these students going on into very, varied careers. There's no stipulation that you have to go into the arts, etc. 2 years ago with that, we were also able to launch in cooperation with the Rush family, who have been so supportive of all of this throughout the time. We launched the Tyler Rush Memorial Endowment as well, which kind of is growing every year and allowing us to continue to keep that scholarship program thriving, and we'll hopefully give even more opportunities in this year and in the years to come. So it's really been a special part of our community, because the event features all of the students in the choral department. So there's no audition necessary to participate. If you're in choir, you're in the show. We do have solo opportunities and featured opportunities that students can audition for. But as a result of that, and then we have a live pit featuring members of our band and orchestra department, and sometimes our guitar department, as well as sometimes some of our own teachers. So there's been years where we've had over 300 performers involved. Sometimes we have had the parents involved as well, and they're certainly helping with a lot of the backstage efforts as well. Years and years ago, we had an administrative number as well. I think that's when Dr. Gordon was here, and we got to put all the administrators in handcuffs. So we had some fun with that as well. But it's really just a special part of our community, and in both the legacy that it provides for Tyler and for his family, but also what our students take away. It's often the highlight of the year for our students, and one of the things that keeps them coming back and motivated each year. So. And
my connection to Night on Broadway is I taught my first year teaching at Winter Park. I had Tyler's sister, and so it always, and that was, when I went. So I've only missed two. There were two Night on Broadways before I started working at Winter Park.
You've been to more than I have, so take the reins.
And it's amazing every year. So hopefully in 2022. We'll be able to have the big full-on in-person Night on Broadway. But seeing that and seeing the students and just the excitement that they have, and the every day when they come and they have their stuff with them and they're ready to perform, it just brings so much pride for them to be a part of it. So I love that's something that y'all do. And it's like so many schools that have an annual performance like this, it becomes part of the community tradition as well. And so there are probably people who wait every year for Night on Broadway tickets to go on sale so they can buy them because they come all the time.
Yeah, we have so many people who they don't necessarily care what it's going to be about. They just know that they want to come see Night on Broadway, and they're just really excited about that. And having that support is amazing. And you mentioned too that of your being able to come every year, which that's amazing that you've been to so many. But I know it just means so much to the students. And I think as any teacher is watching, anything that we can get to, I know I've gone to some athletic events and surprised my students there, and other performing arts things, and it just means so much to them that their teachers show up and care about what's important to them. And I think that's often the way I think that we can get through to a student, right, when we show that we care about the things that, or we're interested in the things that they care about. So I certainly appreciate your support there, and all of our colleagues who have been so supportive all these years.
And kudos to you, because you do such a good job of including so many of the other musical arts teachers in this. And so the orchestra director, she's usually down directing the pit, and the guitar teachers thought sometimes he's in there in the pit playing. So you have it's basically a whole family affair.
It is. I mean, it just
world.
Yeah, it just speaks to, we have a really great team, and we all legitimately enjoy working together, which is a tremendous blessing. And so that enables us to have some extra fun on things like that.
So one last question, because it's the same one I ask everybody, and it's a non-education question because it's just kind of fun, and I've gotten a couple of good books and podcasts to listen to over the course of these things. But what is something, because I'm sure all in pandemic we all started doing stuff like this, but what are maybe something that you're currently watching or you have watched, like, oh, this is really good, or that you're listening to, or that you're reading, just to share with us some of that stuff?
For sure. Okay, so let's see.
And it can be as cheesy as you want. One of the people who she watches like farming shows.
That's amazing.
I'm probably not gonna watch a farming show, but if that is that a good stress reliever for you, I'm okay with that. So
okay.
Don't try to be all philosophical on me here.
One of my releases, but also now has become a little bit of anxiety producing because now I've got like 190-day streak or something. Is I love Duolingo, so I've been brushing up on my German on that. So that's been a little bit of the stress release. In terms of reading, so I'm like one of those people who I'm pretty much always reading about 5 or 6 things at the same time, and all in varying states. And some it takes, I'm so far removed from it that I end up having to reread more than I'd like, but it happens. I guess 3 things I'm reading now. I'm reading I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Angelou. So been reading that. I had just started right after winter break, but I haven't picked it up for a while. A Promised Land by President Obama. And then I'm also reading, one of my students recommended The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, which I had just started as well, and I'm really liking that. So if I'll welcome any other recommendations though that come as a result of these gatherings here. So
The Book Thief, that is a good one.
That's what I've heard. So
it's the Holocaust. Anything about the Holocaust is going to be heartbreaking, but the way the writer is able to take a different spin on it and the view of it, it's an unbelievably well written book. So I hope you enjoy that part of it. I don't know if you can really enjoy a book with the theme that it has, but it is very impactful and moving there. So, well, because I do this, like I do a couple of these a week, so I feel like it's the same book that I'm always reading because it's like, I haven't finished it yet. I have 3 kids, and so my youngest, she loves to like play school and stuff like that. So she'll get like books off the bookcase and she'll go, and then I'll be like, hey, where's the book? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, great, I was in the middle of this. So we go. So I'm still currently reading Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. It's about his life being born during time of apartheid in South Africa. So it's got some real depth to it, but it's Trevor Noah, so it has a lot of humor in it as well. And he's a wonderful storyteller in that. And then now he just turned 12 on Wednesday of last week. So my 12-year-old has gotten into and really, like I think most people who've gotten it, fallen in love with Hamilton. And so the Hamilton musical is constantly on the music, or the show on Disney Plus is constantly going somewhere in my house. And so now I'm back at it. And there, I feel like I've jumped right back in. And being a history major at college and teaching history for years before I started human geography, I love the fact that it's taken that time period and brought it into contemporary kind of way for the kids to look at it and to see the importance of it. So I'm right in there, and he actually bought him a Hamilton T-shirt for his birthday. Nice. Everything, he was so excited about it. We're back on the Hamilton kick in the Parker household.
You can't go wrong. It's a masterpiece. So
it's very well done. It's amazing. It'll be interesting in about 20 years when they come out with Hamilton High School edition.
Yeah, it's also going to be interesting just when it's been 20 years since Hamilton came out.
I know.
It'll age us all considerably, but
like I remember when. So. Well, Matthew, I have had a great time, and I have loved listening to your passion about choral and choir and activities and your students and engagement. I've learned a lot about what y'all do over there. We just kind of see the end product.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And I love the thought that y'all put into everything that you're able to share. So I appreciate you taking the time to share that with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So thank you for your kind words, and thanks for everything you do to make this such a great place to be. So.
And thanks y'all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next time we have a show. So have a good day.